Today we'll discuss the methods of solid waste disposal. Whenever we talk about methods of solid waste disposal, actually we mean the municipal solid waste, and municipal solid waste consists of household waste, construction and demolition debris, sanitation residue, and waste from the streets. The garbage is generated mainly from residential and commercial complexes. So let us discuss about the disposal methods available for municipal solid waste. These are some methods of disposal of solid waste. One very general method is open dumping. Next, sanitary landfill, incineration or burning in a special condition, composting, and pyrolysis. We'll discuss one by one. And first, the open dumping is simply dumping of the solid waste in an open area without any scientific method of treatment. And this is, although it is listed as a method of solid waste, and this is the worst method of solid waste disposal or solid waste management. So instead of open dumping, the most engineering method of solid waste disposal is sanitary landfill. And in this case, many scientific methods are used. So in sanitary landfill, garbage is spread out in a thin layer in a selected landfill disposal site. And this layer of garbage is compacted, and at the end of the day they are covered with a clay layer or some plastic layer. In modern landfills, the bottom is covered with an impermeable lining. Usually several layers of clay, thick plastic, and sand are used for sanitary landfill. So in a particular day, the solid waste dumped in a particular site is first it is compacted with the help of some machinery. Then a thin layer of soil or clay is given, and that is again compacted with the help of some compacting equipments, so that the insect, birds or other animals cannot reach into the solid waste. So it is quite safe so far as spread of disease due to the disease factor is concerned. Since it is an engineering method of solid waste disposal, so at a particular site the disposed material is covered with some clay material, soil or clay, and this soil or clay is again compacted. And this way for many years, it may be continued for 10 years, maybe for 15 years, or maybe for 5 years, depending upon the size of the landfill area. So if the landfill area is quite large, this site can be used for quite 10-15 years. And at the end of this period, whole disposal site is covered with some impermeable soil material or clay, and generally there are some vent pipe, so that whatever degradation takes place beneath the soil, the gas produced can escape from the space. So after this area can be developed into an recreational area. It may be a park, it may be a playground, or any useful purposes it can be used. So that is why it is considered as the most engineering and scientific method of solid waste disposal. So the insect and disease vector cannot spread the disease, which is generally common in case of an open dumping. Next important method of solid waste disposal is incineration. And incineration is basically a burning process, and it is done in a particular facility used to burn trash and other types of waste until it is reduced to ash. So one of the characteristic of this is the volume of solid waste decreases. The only solid thing that has to be handled is the ash produced after the burning or incineration. Generally, an incinerator is constructed of heavy, well-insulated material so that it does not give off extreme amount of external heat to the outside area. So incineration advantage is the volume decreases, but one disadvantage of this is it may cause again the air pollution. If the incinerated materials or solid waste are toxic, then it may again produce some toxic gases also due to the burning or incineration. But still the volume is decreases, and the ash are very less in volume, so the ash can be handled quite easily compared to the huge volume of the solid waste. And another very important method is solid waste disposal is composting. And composting is basically, it is a biodegradation, and this is done by some microorganisms. These microorganisms helps degrade the material. This is only applicable to biodegradable materials, that means kitchen waste and so on. The biodegradable material waste are separated from the municipal waste, and it is allowed to degrade or decompose in a particular medium. As a result of this decomposition, very good quantity of nutrient is produced, and this is very environmental friendly. And the compost produced from the composting process is very good final product that can be used as a good manure. So composting is a biological process. Composting is a biological process in which microorganisms, mainly fungi and bacteria, converts degradable organic waste into humus-like substance. So it is almost like very good fertile soil. So humus-like material is produced, and that is very good for the soil, and the soil fertility increases because of this degraded material. This finished product, which looks like soil, is high in carbon and nitrogen and is an excellent medium for growing plants. So out of these degradable biodegradable materials, this we can get some compost, which are mainly a humus-like material, look like soil and very good manure. So there are some points about compost. Compost allows the soil to retain more plant nutrients over a longer period of time. So the fertility of the soil is maintained by use of compost. It supplies part of the 16 essential elements or nutrients needed for the plants. So nutrients are automatically supplied if we use compost to the soil. It helps reduce the adverse effect of excessive alkalinity or acidity or excessive use of chemical fertilizer. So the soil become neutral so far as pH value is concerned, and neutral soil supports many microorganisms and good for the plant growth. It makes soil easier to cultivate. Cultivation becomes easier. It helps keep the soil cool in summer and warm in winter. So soil temperature is maintained. So temperature of the soil is maintained due to use of this compost, product of the composting process. It aids in preventing the soil erosion. So soil erosion is reduced by keeping the soil covered. It helps in controlling the growth of weeds and in the garden. If the soil fertility is good, then the growth of the weeds in the garden become less. Next, we will not go to details of the pyrolysis. Pyrolysis is another process in which it is a form of incineration that is chemically decomposes organic materials by heat in the absence of oxygen. So pyrolysis typically occurs under pressure and at operating temperature above 430 degrees centigrade. So at 430 degrees centigrade generally, and in absence of oxygen, and some chemical may be used for decomposition. This type of process is called pyrolysis. So we are discussing about solid waste management. The core principle of solid waste management is recycle, reuse and reduce. So from municipal solid waste we can segregate the thing. So means first thing we have to do is segregation, or you can say separation of different types of solid waste. There may be some part may go to the incinerator, which can be incinerated, and some part can be recycled, that will go to the recycle industries, and another part will go to the composting, and some may go to the pyrolysis. So this way the solid waste management is carried out, and different types of material are sent to different types of management processes depending on the characters of the properties of the materials. It may go to incinerator also, it may go to for recycle to the industry. Say plastics, glass, metals can be sent to the industries for recycling, and then composting, some will be pyrolysis. So to practice this principle, it is called the 3R principles, 3R's principle: reduce, recycle and reuse. So this practice starts at our domestic level, home level. If at the domestic level, at individual level, we segregate the things, then the work of municipal solid waste disposal system become much easier. Accordingly, the things can be disposed or processed depending upon the nature of the materials. Another is there should be some act and laws, that there are already existing acts and laws, and for environmental protection. So this in case of solid waste also, it comes under the same act and law, under Environmental Protection Act and law. And above and all this, there is another program that is called the awareness program. Awareness among the public against the bad effect of solid waste, and say banning of the plastic. Plastic is a very bad non-biodegradable. Plastic is non-biodegradable. So these plastics, in case of the plastic, we can create public awareness among the general public, so that the plastic can be the use of plastic can be reduced, and those plastics can be reused at every level, at the domestic level, or it may be in the commercial level also. So there are some awareness program at international level also, like by the United Nations Environment Program. Under that, the World Environment Day is observed all over the world on June the 5th. Similarly, there are Earth Day awareness among the people about the earth, and that is observed in the April 22nd. So today we have discussed these solid waste management approaches. One is open dumping, which should not be done. Second is incineration. Second is sanitary landfill. Third is incineration. Similarly, there is composting and pyrolysis. These are the general practice for management of solid waste, and above and all this, we can create act and law. It may help reduce the production of this solid waste, and awareness among the people can also reduce the rate of production of solid waste. So thank you.